I want to invite Judith Bitterly up here. She's the Chief Marketing Officer at AVG Technologies. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me okay? Great. I'd like to thank the organizers of LifeLongTech for bringing this topic to light. It's great seeing a room full of people who are actually interested in marketing to people over 50. So as she mentioned, I'm Chief Marketing Officer for AVG Technologies. We have over 188 million customers who use our products every day in over 200 countries. And they're a very vocal group, especially the people over 50. Today I'm going to share with you a couple of pieces of research that we did. And if you want more detail on it, it'll be available on LifeLongTech and also our website. It's focused on both boomers and seniors, but it's how they feel about tech and tech as an industry. And then also the second piece of research is around what are the barriers to doing business with boomers and with seniors. The research was comprised over 9 countries, European and the United States, and it's pretty robust. So in starting, why is this important? As business people, there are over 2 billion new users ready to come online over the next 3 to 5 years. Many of those will be over 50. They're going to be your aunts, maybe yourself, your uncles, your parents, your grandparents, and all of these people have faces, they have passions, they have interests. And as marketers and as business people, we need to understand what they are. And that's what prompted this research for us. There's something I learned a long time ago, which is just because my business needs revenue is no reason for someone to buy from me. I need to understand what motivates them and what drives them. So in looking at the research, there was a basic question that came out, and that was, as a team of people, as people over 50, why are we being undervalued? And so we asked some simple questions to both boomers and to seniors. And here's some quick answers that came back. 43% of the respondents felt that tech companies patronize them. How many of you who are over 50 have felt patronized? Okay. 53% think tech companies focus too much on their age group and believe this age group is fundamentally tech illiterate. 39% think tech companies talk down to them when they're calling out for help. Now, this is the starting ground for all of us as business people, and it really hit home to me last summer when I was shopping for a birthday present for my husband. I wanted to buy a smartwatch, so I went to the local big box consumer electronics store, national chain, went to the section that was for smartwatches, and I'm looking and a young man comes up to me, and this is Austin, Texas, and he said in a nice Texas drawl, "Ma'am, how can I help you?" And I said, "I'm looking at a smartwatch for my husband." He said, "Ma'am, it's all about Wi-Fi." He said, "Let me explain Wi-Fi to you." I said, "I know what Wi-Fi is." He said, "Let me explain." And as he's explaining, his voice is raising. And it reminded me of being in Europe a lot of times where you hear people trying to communicate with someone who doesn't understand their language. And instead of accepting it, they just raise their voice. So we get through the Wi-Fi episode, and I said to him, "I'm really interested in the cameras on the smartwatches." And he said, "Ma'am, it's all about the pixels. Let me explain the pixels to you." And I said, "I know what pixels are." And finally, I excused myself, went home, went online to Amazon, ordered the watch for my husband, and it came the next day. Amazon got my business because they didn't talk down to me. They treated me well. They respected the fact that I have a credit card in my own name, and they know that I buy things from them. So this is the mindset that we found from our research that most boomers and most seniors are experiencing from tech companies. Fundamentally, the tech companies feel that we're illiterate, and I'm going to say the S word, that we're stupid. But with that said, sorry, forward or back? Okay. So if anyone wants to take a picture of that, I'll leave that there for a moment. But with that said, there are 3 trillion reasons in the United States why this demographic should be taken seriously. we have disposable income. Most of us have kids who are out of college or, and on their own or out the door. That means we have leftover money. I remember this experience probably about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, talking to my mother. I come from a family of 5. I'm the oldest. The youngest brother graduated from college. And my mother called me a couple of months later and she said, "Judith, I have money. I found money." I said, "Well, how did you find money?" She said, "I don't know, but there's more money there." And there is, because we're not supporting the kids anymore. So if you're thinking of marketing to this demographic or you're marketing to this demographic, I would strongly recommend that there's a clear understanding that this demographic does have disposable income and we do spend it. It is the largest growing segment on Facebook. We use Facebook to talk to our families, our friends, to stay in touch. We use Instagram. Think about the holiday that all of you just came through. I don't know about yours, but with mine, a lot of family members couldn't join us. So we used, our smartphones. We used Skype. We use Instagram. But we use technology to stay in touch. We use technology for banking, for shopping, for entertainment, for news, for weather. Technology is part of our life. And the research said that boomers and seniors, by and large, believe that technology has improved our lives. We believe that it's improved communications with our families, 84%. 70% of those research said that it improved the shopping experience, the banking experience, entertainment and travel experience. 65 of those respondents said that we feel in touch. Technology enables us to be in touch more. And half, 51%, said that we feel digital technology is critical to our everyday lives. Now, I don't know about your household, but over the holidays, my husband and I did a technology inventory. We have 31 connected devices for a household of 2. Now that's embarrassing, but when you consider all the smartphones, the tablets, the TVs, the thermostats, it is an integral part of this demographic. It's an integral part of our lives, and we feel that technology makes our lives better. So what does this mean? This first piece of research clearly says that as a tech industry, we need to do an attitude adjustment. There's clearly a perception gap between boomers and seniors' technical capabilities and our desires and our interests than what the technology industry as a whole gives us credit for. And we have to remember that boomers helped create digital technology. And when I got out of the Army many, many years ago, I went into tech. And that was 30 years ago. And most of you who are boomers or seniors in this room were there with me at the same time. So what I'm saying is fundamentally the businesses need to give us credit for that, and they need to understand that we were there in the beginning and we're going to be there at the end. We do understand that tech improves our lives, and 84% of the respondents said that they do not believe that they're novices. So that's a big gap, because most of us are treated like we are illiterate and we don't understand what Wi-Fi is or what pixels are. But with that said, there are challenges. And as business people, we need to recognize, again, that we have a responsibility to educate. We just can't expect people to understand that there is a business problem and that our technology can solve it. So I would encourage you, as you look at this from a marketing perspective, to make sure that you are clearly conveying the problem that your technology is solving and what it's solving for this demographic. Second, there are cultural, regional, and political differences across the globe. Our research clearly showed that. So with marketing, it as always, it's slanted differently in the different geos that you're in. And then, of course, experiences account for everything. But the basic message that I want to convey is that if you're marketing or selling to this group or want to sell to this group, we do know technology, and give us a little bit of credit for that. Now that we have the foundation established, we also did a great body of work across 10 geos on what are the barriers that customers feel for doing business with us as a mobile industry. And there were 3 fundamental concerns that the respondents had. The first was around security of the data and the files. And can you blame them with everything from Target to Home Depot to Jennifer Lawrence to Sony being hacked? And Jennifer Lawrence wasn't a hack, it was a poor password. But this is in the news every day. And for us as a demographic, it has a deeper meaning because it is our data, and it's our family's data, it's our family's legacy. So that is a very prevalent concern. Second is keeping the data private. And it was interesting listening to the panel before this because the world of big data is here. And to me, the question is not just the big data, but the question is who owns that data? Fitbit that I use, who owns all that data about my activity? And I think that, when I look at next year, is going to be one of the most pressing issues that we have to address as business people, is understanding clearly the data that we're collecting and who owns it, and being above board with the people that we're doing business with. And then mobile device security. Now, even with mobile device security, our research showed that we all have a lot of work to do. From our demographic and from the audience in general, 3% of the respondents said security threats don't concern them. 21% weren't aware. And we all know there are threats on mobile every day. At AVG, I mean, we track these threats. We track the malware. We know where they come from. And so as part of the education that we do a lot of outreach. We do a lot of blogging. We do a lot of social media activity to educate our consumers, not to instill fear, but to inform them so they can take control of their own security. We also heard from the respondents that trust is paramount from this demographic. 40% of the mobile users said that trust is a barrier to purchasing goods and services online. You know, think about it. People want to know who we are, what our brand stands for. Have we earned the right to do business with them? So again, what we do at AVG is we try to build the relationship, try to build a trusted relationship with our customers. And it works, but fundamentally, they need to trust us. Again, trust is paramount. What our research showed is that 65% of the respondents were unhappy with sharing personal information with apps. And the lesson that we've learned off this is we look at every single piece of information we ask customers, and we have a discussion around why do we need it, and what are we going to use the information for. We're very, very transparent. And this is, to us, we're trying to eliminate barriers for people doing business with us, and this is a huge one. Again, trust is paramount. 88% of the respondents were not happy to provide personal information in exchange for a service. So again, we've grown up in the world that there are free apps and people will give up stuff for free apps, but I think everyone is kind of hitting a tipping point, especially the boomers and especially the seniors. And then when asked if they've ever stopped downloading an app because they felt it was intrusive, 79% of the respondents said they've stopped downloading an app because they felt the app was asking for too much information or it was a little squidgy. I mean, I think about the mini apps I've stopped downloading. I mean, why do they need to know my eye color, my dog's name, where I'm at? You know, there's no need, and it just, the alarm bells went off, and it's going off for this demographic big time. So what do boomers and seniors want? They fundamentally want what we all want. They want trust. They want to know that they're doing business with companies who are good people, that they can trust with their data, with their livelihood, with their financial information. They want and are demanding data transparency. You know, they want to know, what are you doing with the data? And they want protection. You know, we've made it really easy for the bad guys over the last few years. If someone was going to rob a bank 20 years ago, they'd have to rob 50 banks to do a lot of damage. But now we have these massive data centers with credit cards and people's names and people's birth dates. And we've made it easy. They just need to go to one of these big data banks, as they've done over the year. And we've read about these in all the magazines. So boomers and seniors, if we're going to do business with them and cultivate these relationships, we need to understand that we have to develop a basis of trust centered around trust data transparency and protection of the data. So on top of that, what should our industry focus on? What should tech focus on? These are my recommendations. First, you need to understand that this isn't about just devices, this is about people. There are people behind every single tablet, notebook, smartphones. There's a reason that they have these devices. And there was another piece of research that we did last year, and we asked women who were dating, would you rather give up your boyfriend or your smartphone? And close to 70% said that they would rather give up their boyfriend than their smartphone. So we need to understand that these devices have become integral to our lives. You know, it's not just a piece of hardware, it's our life. And so we can't just talk about speeds and feeds as we market to the people. We need to talk about the value and the benefit and understand the personal relationship we have with an iPad. I mean, for example, in our household, I know this is foolish, but my husband and I have 2 iTunes accounts because I don't want him messing with my music, with my videos, with all of those things. It is personal. Our technology is very, very personal. So there's 2 points that I'd like to close on. One is working with Clinton Global Initiative, we've created an initiative called Smart User. So if you and your companies would like to join us in this initiative, we would more than welcome your participation. The goal is, as we look at the next 2 billion people coming online, making them smart users, not just giving them smartphones. You think about the lessons that we've learned over the last 15 to 20 years online. We know not to put our birth date on a document. We know never to give up our social security number. We know not to send naked pictures. Well, most people do, except for politicians. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to develop a program to teach these emerging markets and new people that are coming online kind of the rules for the road. And we need all the help that we can get. So if you're interested in that, please contact me. We are actively looking for partners. And then the last thing is a very personal note for all of you who are creating businesses that will benefit boomers and will benefit seniors. I'd like to leave you with a very personal thought, and that was, you know, when I was growing up, the music that I listened to was the Beatles, Rolling Stone, and Jimi Hendrix. Well, it's morphed, you know, and I listened to Eminem, I listened to Gary Clark Jr., I listened to Usher. Our music tastes evolve, our technology tastes evolve. So as you look at someone, just because you may see some wrinkles or a little bit of gold hair or silver hair, doesn't mean that we've stopped learning and stopped using technology. It is an integral part of our life. The research is available. Hopefully you'll find it useful. Thank you very much. We have 2 minutes. Any questions? Yes, sir. The research, you can go, Betty, the URL for the research. NowAVG.com. Mm-hmm.
Questions, anyone?
And my email is judith.bitterly@avg.com. So if you can't find it, just send me a note. Judith.bitterly, Bitterli.